am going to attempt to do my first ever vlog this week. So today is Sunday, and I'm hoping to vlog each day this week. Well, so far today, woke up and did my Bible. I am in Leviticus right now. Did my devotional, my Imagine Heaven devotional. Did day 2 of Core 52, week 6, and read a chapter 2 from Experiencing God. Went to a meeting this morning at 8:30 for a steering committee at church, and then had church. After church, I went and met one of my favorite people in the whole wide world for coffee, which was wonderful. And so now I am home, and for the rest of the day, I plan to edit my TBR video and get that up. It's the Super Bowl today, which I don't care about because the Steelers are not in it. So I will be reading for the rest of the day. My plan today is to get through some of Gates of Splendor by Elizabeth Elliot and to get a little further along in the Quintland sisters. I will catch up and give some of my thoughts regarding those as the day goes on. Okay, so it's about bedtime, which means it's like 8:30. I go to bed at 9. And so I've read about 100 more pages from Through Gates of Splendor by Elizabeth Elliot. It's really good. Really, really good. There was in there a very harrowing description of what giving birth is like for one of the Indian groups that they work with in South America. And that birth story really made me feel very lucky to be an American and have access to, you know, whatever medical that we need. It's just amazing what some people live in, and oof, it was major. So read about 100 pages of that. I'm about like a little more than 50% of the way done with that book. And then I did get to read, I think, another 25 pages from the Quintland sisters book, which is by Shelley Wood. And it's good. I like that there's some, it's a work of fiction, and so there's some like made up articles in there, like newspaper clippings and things like that, which kind of break up the book, and I like that. So, yeah, good day of reading, and now I am ready to get ready for bed. So, all right, see you guys tomorrow. Good morning. So it's about 6 o'clock in the morning. Just woke up. It is Monday morning. I have about 2 hours before I have to get ready for work. So I'm going to be into the Bible this morning, reading in Leviticus. Gonna do my Imagine Heaven devotional, day 3 from Core 52, and then gonna read another chapter from Experiencing God, and would also like to get in a chapter from Becoming Myself by Stacey Aldridge this morning before I head to work, before I have to get ready. I have my Bob Ross mug here with me this morning. It's one of those heat-changing mugs, so it comes this pretty little picture. It goes from black to this pretty little picture. And on the back it says, "There are no mistakes, only happy accidents." So, gotta love Bob. Go ahead and get my reading done for this morning. I have to do my prayer journaling also. That's what I will start with. So, all right, I will check in after I'm done. So today is Saturday, and at this point I should have had an additional 4 vlog videos for you guys to see. I did really bad with the vlog this week, so next week is a new week, and hopefully I will be better next week than I was this week. So today I'm just gonna do a weekly wrap up. Yesterday was great because it was a snow day. It was really our first snowfall of the season here in Pittsburgh, the first one that amounted to anything. And it was a snow day. It started out as a 2-hour delay for my daughter and eventually turned into a total day off school. So I decided to stay home from work also, and I spent the whole day reading. I wound up completing 2 books yesterday. Quintland Sisters. This is by Shelley Wood. So when I bought this, I thought it was nonfiction. Then after looking into it more, I thought it was just a complete book of fiction. And now I understand that it is a work of fiction based on real life events. So it's a story about the first set of quintuplets that were born, and all of them survived. 1932, Canada, born in a farmhouse. They barely made it. And then everyone's goal was to keep them alive. But then it turned into, there was a big fight between the biological parents and then the state and the people that the state had appointed as guardians, who thought that they were acting in the best favor of this set of quints. They did all survive for the long haul. And as someone that has a strong background in child development, there were definitely, things that happened in the upbringing of these kids that was highly questionable. And all I could do was feel really terrible for them. If you look at things from an attachment parenting standpoint, attachment theory, people were just in and out of these girls' lives all the time, even though their lives were highly structured, like to the point of being ridiculously structured. There was no structure in really the people that came and went from their lives, which was very confusing for them. I really enjoyed this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I had some issues with one of the scenes towards the very, very end. Definite trigger warning for sexual assault. But outside of that, I found it highly enjoyable, and ended up having to go on and look up pictures of these quintuplets and see what they actually looked like, because they're talking all about them, and I mean they're describing them, but I really wanted to see what they looked like. And there are a lot of pictures available on the internet. It was the Dion quintuplets. So yeah, I would definitely recommend that book. After I finished the Quintland Sisters, then I went ahead and finished up through Gates of Splendor by Elizabeth Elliot. This was excellent. So this is the story of 5 missionaries who they wanted to become missionaries to a group that was known as the Auca Indians. That's what they were known as at that time. They've since changed their name to the Waroni Indians. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's the story of how they got called to this mission, how they went about making first contact, and then when they actually went to meet them with the goal of meeting them for the first time in the hopes that they would be invited into their village. This was an Indian tribe that was essentially still in the Stone Age. They were extremely fearful of white men, and there had been several instances where they had murdered individuals and groups with their lances when they tried to go in and speak with them. Missionaries thought that the men were coming and were going to invite them back into their village. They had already, one day they had met with 1 male and 2 females from the village, and they thought that they were going to go back and tell them, hey, it's good, they're friendly, let's see how it goes. And what ended up happening was they were ambushed, and all 5 missionaries were killed. And this was something that was felt around the world. All 5 of the men had wives and families. And the most amazing part of all of this is that several of the wives stayed in the area, and they did ultimately end up making friendly contact, and 2 of the women were invited to go and live in the village, and there's a scene where Elizabeth Elliot, who's the author of the book, is in a house in the village, and two of the men that murdered her husband are sitting there playing with her children, and she knows that they had murdered her husband. And so it's about forgiveness, about God's plan, about how God's plans are much bigger than anything that we can ever know or understand. And I mean, it was just wonderful. So I thought maybe I'd read my favorite quote from this book. I thought this was great. This was written by a pilot, one of the missionaries. He was a pilot. His name was Nate Saint. And he said, "When life's flight is over and we unload our cargo at the other end, the fellow who got rid of unnecessary weight will have the most valuable cargo to present to the Lord." I just thought that was beautiful. And there's just some other really, really good stuff in here too. One of the missionaries, his name was Roger, and his wife said, "Many will say, why did Raj get mixed up in this when his work was with the Havaros? Because Raj came to do the will of him that sent him. The Lord has closed our hearts to grief and hysteria and filled in with his perfect peace." It's a beautiful book. I highly recommend it. This was 5-star for me. Then also this week, I was reading Story Thieves by James Riley, and I DNF'd this. I DNF'd it at chapter 19. I was listening to it and reading it physically, and so I'm not sure if me not liking it had to do with the narrator more than the story, but let's just put it this way. I didn't even want to pick up the physical book, so yeah. I didn't like any of these characters, and that's what it boiled down to, and that's why I DNF'd it. I was going to make myself continue, and I was like, why? You don't care. So, DNF'd it at 19 chapters, so that's not going to be read this month. So yeah, I mean, overall, it was a good reading week. I did have 2 or 3 days that I wasn't able to, like, read for pleasure at all. Just been really, really tired. I'm also listening to Little Women. I'm doing that, reading physical and doing a lot more audio at this point for that, listening to it on my script account. And yeah, I'm enjoying that. I like Little Women. I think I'm preferring it on audio over the physical. So yeah, that was my wrap up. That's my first weekly reading vlog that didn't go quite as I had hoped, but I'll try again next week. All right, guys, if you like what you see, go ahead and don't forget to subscribe and give me a nice thumbs up.